14th September 2019. I trust you're having a great weekend. We are glad you could join us on NTV Weekend Edition on the broadcast tonight. Tonight, another suspect arrested as police investigate the gruesome murder of Dutch tycoon Tob Cohen. The wife has been speaking on their troubled marriage.
A divorce is not something that is even pronounced by a lot of us.
Also tonight, for every passing 40 seconds, one person dies by suicide.
Singetaka mtoto aniulize wakati dadi alikuwa hapo, tulikuwa tunafanya hivi, na sasa maisha imebadilika.
Come to us as pastors. Go to a person that you may trust.
The pain of those left behind and where to seek help for those battling mental illnesses. Plus, tales from the wild north.
Tulikuja kitu saa 10 ya usiku. Ukiniona hata sijaosha uso, sijakula breakfast.
The struggles of Marsabit residents in accessing water and the promise of a drop at the end of the tunnel. And have you heard about goat yoga? We tell you how these animals can leave you even more relaxed.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. To our top story. Tonight, police have arrested another suspect believed to have played a key part in the gruesome murder of Dutch tycoon Tob Cohen. DCI detectives attached to special crimes and homicide units are looking into financial transactions and communication between the key suspects as they try to put the pieces together in a murder that has shocked the nation. But the lawyers of Cohen's estranged wife, Sarah Wairimu Kamotho, are still questioning the manner in which the discovery was made by DCI detectives. Mel Miendo begins our broadcast tonight.
The new player in the list of suspects is Peter Karanja, the ex-husband of Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari. Mr. Karanja said to have had close relations with Cohen's estranged wife, Sarah Wairimu, was arrested hours after Cohen's body was taken to the mortuary. It is alleged that Karanja, Wairimu and others hatched an assassination plot after Cohen filed for divorce and reported assault. Karanja is said to have hired assassins from Nairobi and Nakuru, and money is alleged to have been wired through M-Pesa transactions. DCI detectives attached to the homicide unit are now investigating the transactions and communication between the suspects. DCI's special crime and flying squad units have been deployed to hunt for the hired assassins. Kinoti says there are more suspects.
There is no perfect crime. Aspect always, in a way, to a keen detective. We have 2 suspects so far, and we are going to arrest more. Anybody who was involved in this, gruesome murder, all of them, I can assure you.
Sources close to the family who spoke to NTV in anonymity claimed that a key suspect had brought in some workers to cover the scene of crime with cement and tree branches. Family and friends of the are now pointing an accusing finger at the wife.
He told me that in the case of anything, my disappearance, my body being found anywhere, Sarah is responsible.
She was possible to do to him. I did see his body. It's terrible. I don't know what the word is, but it was with ropes and
But Wairimu and her lawyers are rubbishing claims linking her to the gruesome murder of the businessman.
I spoke to Sarah a few minutes ago. She is saddened by the fact that it is now confirmed that her husband has passed on.
Even one of our best clients say responsible for it's so shallow. I didn't know people can get so shallow.
Cohen had been missing for 54 days before his body was discovered on Friday. The wife had claimed that he travelled to Thailand.
It is now a ghost house, a Kitisuru residence that is claimed to be over 500 million Kenya shillings. The court case will begin on Monday, the 16th September 2019. Mel Miendo, NTV, Nairobi.
Still staying on that story, Sarah Wairimu, the wife of the late Dutch millionaire Tob Cohen, now claims that her marriage to the businessman was a troubled one, which was marred by emotional and physical abuse. These confessions are part of a video and audio recording after the disappearance of her husband, in which she also details her troubled relationship with her in-laws in the Netherlands and accuses the late husband of substance abuse. Silas Apollo has that story.
It has been described as one of murder's most foul, and fresh details are now emerging on the rocky marriage between Tob Cohen and his wife Sarah Wairimu, who is a key suspect in the murder. Wairimu, in a video and audio recording just after the disappearance of Cohen, says her husband was fond of keeping the wrong company after he started using drugs. Wairimu says their troubles began sometime in 2014.
From then on, it was like war, and before you know it, he has happy moments and sad moments, and then I could see he was using a lot of whatever it is that he uses.
These troubles, she says, escalated last December during the wedding of their daughter.
He was all over. He would go to every table and say, I am so and so, this is my home, and that's my wife and my daughter, and I'm going to divorce them. He kept on saying that the whole night.
But Cohen's friends have a different account of the events of the day.
When he came down here, took the microphone to say hi to the guests, Sarah stands up, grabs the microphone from Cohen in front of all the guests and tells the guests, you are not wanted, you do not own this home, you are talking nonsense.
From these marital issues was conceived the idea of divorce.
He's always said he will not divorce me because if he divorces me, he would lose half of the house. So I was like, supposing I feel like divorcing you, we'd have those conversations. Yeah. I think when you marry someone and for long, you sort of adopt them, they become your children. Yeah. So he's also part of the management.
Wairimu had a troubled relationship with Cohen's family. They have singled her out as a key suspect in the murder.
It's unbelievable what she was possible to do to him. I did see his body. It's terrible.
The court had ordered that Wairimu faces a mental assessment test before facing murder charges. She is expected back in court on Monday. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Away from that story, the Independent Policing Oversight Authority has launched investigations into the circumstances under which police allegedly shot dead a 2-year-old boy in Nairobi's Kahawa West Estate a week ago, reportedly over 50 shillings bribe. IPOA chairperson Anne Makori today visited the family of Dan Githinji and assured them that the matter will be looked into conclusively. At the same time, IPOA is investigating a case where police allegedly fatally shot a 4-year-old girl, Daisy Chepkoech, during an eviction exercise at Moulem village in Endebess, Trans Nzoia County. The authority is also looking into another case on how Samuel Njogo died while in police custody at Ngano Police Station. IPOA has also dispatched its rapid response team to investigate an incident in which a matatu driver was allegedly shot and injured by a deputy police commander in Embu County.
I happen to be a mother and a lady like yourself, Mama to Duncan. I know the pain of a child and assure you, besides the institutional legal mandate that we have as a mother, I'm committed to ensure that justice is done because I can feel your pain.
We certainly hope that those families get justice. Now, this week, the world marked the Suicide Prevention Day with the release of a startling report on how one person dies of suicide every passing 40 seconds. The report indicated that most suicide cases occur in low and middle-income economies such as Kenya. But for the families left behind, coping up with the pain, anger, and the unanswered questions of why a loved one decided to take their own life is devastating. Leila Mohammed reports that there is hope for those who struggle with battles in the mind, and it starts with reaching out for help.
The battle in the mind sometimes can be too much for one to bear, forcing them to take their own lives. But a new one begins in the minds of those who were left behind as they try to come to terms with the actions of the one who took their own life, as they now begin life without them.
Virginia Wanjiku fixes the flowers that have wilted over her late husband's grave at their home in Engineer Village, Kinangop in Nyandarua County. But the emotions, the pain and the anger left in her heart are still raw. Why he'd killed himself. It was his second attempt at suicide.
Kutoka hiyo siku nimekuwa na mambo mingi sana inanisubua. Hata sikuwa ninasema saa hii naongea at least niko na nguvu kiasi.
The mother of 3 says that she had to pick up the pieces really fast.
Singetaka mtoto aniulize wakati dadi alikuwa hapo tulikuwa tunafanya hivi na sasa maisha imebadilika. Naomba tu Mungu anisaidie.
On the other side of town, police from Nangop station have just picked up the body of a 45-year-old man who'd met his death by his own hand.
Mzoea kumuona kila siku. Na kwa hayo machache, mimi sina lolote lile juu ule mshangao umetupika jioni ya leo.
Engineer Village has buried 4 of its sons who have taken their lives since January this year. This has caught now the church's attention.
When you face problems, talk to some people. Come to us as pastors. Go to a person that you may trust. And once you share that problem, I can say that it is almost half solved.
Just this week, a lost love caused a 40-year-old man to take his own life in Kiambu. His friends say that the drama that went on in his family life proved too much for him. In Busia, 2 women are still mourning their husband who killed himself 7 years ago, leaving them with wounds that even time refuses to heal. With the United Nations recognizing just 1 day out of the year to encourage the conflicted to choose life, many feel that a daily listening ear is a more effective way to end the battles in the mind. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Quite startling figures there from the WHO report. And of course, as the man of the cloth says, reach out to the people you trust, or at least even pastors where you need help, and that could save a life indeed. Now to some bittersweet news for Kenyans, and kerosene users are the biggest beneficiaries of this month's review of the fuel prices, as the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority lowers the cost of a litre by 3 shillings and 31 cents effective tonight. Motorists, on the other hand, will have to spend 28 cents more for petrol and 2 shillings and 40 cents more for diesel in the revised prices. Nairobi motorists will now spend the most on fuel and diesel at 112 shillings and 81 cents per litre for super petrol and 103 shillings and 4 cents for a litre of diesel. EPRA now says the new prices have been informed by a slight decrease in the landed cost of fuel. The changes take effect tonight until the 14th of next month. And to a bit of politics now, and Deputy President William Ruto has once again denied claims that he is using the countrywide tours to hunt for votes for his 2022 presidential bid, despite the evidence pointing to this. Ruto, who was in Kwale County, is accusing his detractors of having nothing to offer Kenyans. Coast leaders who accompanied him claim they have been in opposition for far too long and will now be supporting the DP.
Tumechoka na tumechoka kuwa katika upinzani miaka nenda miaka rudi, na sisi wa pwani, safari hii serikali ikiundwa ni lazima na sisi tuwe ndani ya serikali ya Kenya.
Sasa sisi tunataka baba mwenye maziwa, hatutaki baba mwenye matiti makavu. Sasa na hapa tutanyonya, manake tumeanza na tutashiba, si hivyo?
Tufanye kazi na watu ambao wanataka kufanya kazi. Watu ambao wako na story tuwawache na story zao, si ndio?
Sijui Ruto ameenda pwani, sijui ameenda kuwinda sijui nini, kuwinda kura. Mimi nimekuja hapa kazini. Wale wanafanya siasa ni wale ambao hawana kazi ya kufanya, lakini wanafanya maneno. Sasa hao ndio waulizwe maswali. Ninyi wananchi wa hapa Vanga mlinichagua na Mheshimiwa Rais twende tukae Nairobi.
Away from politics, the High Court ruled on Friday that Rastafarianism is a religion and that followers of the faith must not be discriminated against. This was in a case in which a parent had sued Olympic High School in Kibra for sending his daughter away from school because she had dreadlocks. We tooled around the country for reactions to that ruling, and here now is your say.
Hair should not be the only reason you don't get an education. Other than that, if you did go to an institution and they said you shouldn't have locks in the first place, then yes, those are their rules. Having said that too, you should not be denied education just because of your hair.
I think it's positive that the court actually focuses on the right to study more than the looks, because they don't really matter. It's what the child can do actually.
You should not be judged according to your hairstyle. It's the same way people shave, the same way people plait, yeah.
Unafaa tu watoto kwa discipline, wakikuwa wameshafika wamemaliza form 4 ndo at least wanaweza kuleta za kuwa smart.
Wangeiruhusu tu watu wa private schools wafanye, lakini wa public schools haifai. Sababu si watu wote watamake kuweka hizo vitu kwa kisha na kuzimaintain.
Rasta ni mtindo wa nywele kama ile mitindo ingine.
Mimi mambo ya dread mimi naona hakuna challenge hata mtu yeye akaenda shule na dread. Hiyo ni lifestyle ya mtu.
Opinions from Kenyans, and we have a Rasta in the house. His name is Paul Peke. He just shouted, "Ja, Rastafari." Let's take a short break on NTV Weekend Edition. But coming up, the water problem in Marsabit and how a government project promises a drop at the end of the tunnel.
Do you want to enjoy the convenience of a credit card that fully adheres to Islamic principles of financing? Then Gulf African Bank's Awal credit card, the first Islamic credit card in East Africa, is the solution you're looking for. It is a card that will ultimately complement your lifestyle. The Gulf African Bank Awal Islamic credit card offers a viable option for all people ascribing to the Islamic mode of banking, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, to access interest-free credit. Call 071-107-5000. SMS Awal to 21981 or visit your nearest branch to order yours today. Gulf African Bank, your partner through life's journey.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Nani wanalia hapo nyuma? Ni mtoto. Usikate, mpatie simu. Hello, Junior.
Cheki usikate. Usikate.
Usikate.
Story bonus imerudi na madrama na mavideo. Ongea zaidi au ongeza bado skolani yako. Ujipatie 200% story bonus plus 200 MB YouTube free kila siku. Usikate pata story bonus.
Nawe kila wakati.
Mama, how can I be a champion runner?
Well, you've got to be like a geisha bomb. Staying strong and going so far.
Be strong and last long. Like geisha.
You find retinoblastoma is commoner before the age of 5 because these tissues are still developing?
Discrimination has been there because all my primary life and high school life, I never had any desquamate because they thought it was a disease that can, go around affecting people.
Please look into that eye. You just need to shine a torch and you can be able to tell something is not right.
Do you have what it takes to become the next generation of great innovators, corporate icons, and renowned engineers? Enroll now for our September 2019 intakes, Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome back. Now, Marsabit County is a rain-deficient county that largely relies on rain-dependent water systems. Only a tiny percentage of the population has access to piped water. A huge part of the pastoralist population and their livestock rely on boreholes, ponds, and shallow wells for the precious commodity, but frequent droughts coupled with the effects of climate change are resulting in decreasing amounts of available water sources in the region. Currently, the town's water comes from a spring located within Marsabit National Park, but it has almost dried up due to degradation of the forest. But as NTV's Rose Wangoi tells us, there is respite for the residents as the national government embarks on a project to expand the main water source.
The hills stand as majestically as they have for years, but now their beauty enhanced by a modern road that cuts through the valleys here, signaling the ending of decades of marginalization for the people of Marsabit County. Those years of little to no economic growth fast replaced by a thriving economy funded by the opening up of the region by the construction of the Trans-Africa Highway that now links Kenya to Ethiopia. This 500-kilometer Isiolo-Marsabit-Moyale road has made it easier to move people and their goods. And the landscape of Marsabit town, a thriving commercial center, is fast changing, with the new buildings and petrol stations an indication of the county's ongoing transformation. But in the midst of this seemingly blossoming town is a problem that won't just go away. Acute water shortages. So dire is the situation that people can go for days without seeing a drop during drought. A first-time visitor to Marsabit town might be surprised at the frequent sights of large numbers of people crowding at a water dispensing point with jerrycans. Loud disagreements at the order of the day here. Women take up to 8 hours to get their rations of 5 20-liter jerrycans that will serve their families for a week.
Tulikuja kitu saa 10 ya usiku. Ukiniona hata sijaosha uso, sijakula breakfast.
Kila siku taabu wetu ni hii tu. Kina mama wako na shida sana. Sasa wengine kwa na watoto, wengine kwa na mimba. Angekuwa na fereji hatuwezi hata kuja hapa kutegemea hii maji.
Nimekuja saa 10:30 na pengine nitatoka saa 12 kwa sababu unaona line vile iko.
A household consumes at least 100 liters of water per day.
Nisipopata hii maji ya shilingi 5, alafu nalipa tukutuku shilingi 10 nipelekea kwa nyumba, ninanunua maji mtungi moja shilingi 50. Of which it is very costly. Mtungi moja haiwezi kukusaidia kwa nyumba. Unatumia like mtungi 4 kwa siku ndio upate kuistahimili familia yako.
Naitwa Mohamed Ibrahim. Mimi niko na watoto 9. Water even for drinking at some level is a problem. Leave alone for washing. Ukienda chooni unahitaji maji. Me as a Muslim, I need to pray 5 times a day. Na kuna maji. Marsabit mchanga ni nyekundu. Unaweza vaa asubuhi, ikifika jioni unakaa mchafu sawa umevaa nguo wiki moja mzima. I've got 3 full heap of clothes which are very dirty, and I've given up hope. I may burn them actually. I may not use it because water is not there. It's very painful. As a father, it's very challenging. Kuna wakati kwa ajili ya shida ya maji, I disappear from my home very early in the morning, pretending that I'm looking for water. Narudi hata sijapata maji. We have one kiosk that has been put up here, but even that one, close to a year or so, it's not operational.
Some 7 kilometers outside Marsabit town in Saku constituency, past the edge of the forest, the dried-up dreams of Badassa Dam paints a bleak picture. In 2009, construction work on the 3 billion shillings dam began with an expected holding capacity of 5 million cubic meters of water. This dam was meant to end the perennial water problems of Marsabit. Those streams have now dried up. With the stalling of construction works here 4 years ago, in place of the envisioned Badassa Dam stands an unfinished concrete tower around it. Badassa Mega Dam project was meant to offer a tangible solution to the protracted misery and frustration the people of Marsabit have had to contend with. But all there is from the dam project is a large and complete earthen embankment in Marsabit forest.
We were so optimistic. We thought we were going to live like any other Kenyan. Tunaamka asubuhi, you take your shower, your children take shower. It's quite a long time. That project has not yielded anything.
The contractor, when he was trying to put up those facilities, met a lot of challenges. There are faults, there are fissures in the rocks. He had to fill this. The only thing the contractor could not do is the dam wall, which is supposed to hold rainwater for storage. He didn't do that. Because of those challenges, And probably because of the incompetency, because that work is not a small work. The government have appointed a new consulting engineers. They are reviewing the design and they'll come up with a solution. And once that is done, then the national government is ready to fund it again.
Marsabit gets little rain even in a normal year. However, the rains have never been gone for as long as they have this time round. With not a drop for the last 8 or so months, according to the local community, life has become tough. Most water pans have dried up. The surviving ones have become battle zones where human beings, goats, cattle, camels, and wildlife struggle to quench their thirst. This is Partition Village. The water pan serves hundreds of residents. To an outsider, the sight of the water is disturbing, and yet this is where area residents gather daily to draw some of the precious commodity for domestic use, including cooking. The quality of water does not matter anymore.
Mali yote unakunya ng'ombe, mbuzi, ngamia, hata wanyama ile ya ndani ya forest unakunya. Tupigia hata chakula. Maji safi ndio kombali. Ile kuna pesa unanunua na ile hakuna pesa unakunywa hii.
Partition, yes, there's a water pan which is not very clean. We bought them plastic tanks which through which they can now harness clean water from the roofs. At the same time, we are also doing water tracking.
NTV first took the pictures in February 2019. 8 months down the line, the water pan has dried up, courtesy of the unforgiving sun. The cracked earth tells it all.
Marsabit is deprived of permanent rivers, major springs. The only thing we have is during the rainy season. That is when we harvest flood waters in forms of construction of water pans, dams, rock catchments.
They quickly dry up with the onset of the dry season, and the population has to rely on a limited number of high-yielding boreholes, often an average distance of about 30 kilometers away. The Marsabit National Park is an oasis of green in this arid desert region of Kenya. Marsabit's biggest attraction is its national park, with lush cloud forest that dot the mountain and its surroundings. It has many interesting geological features. The densely forested mountain has 3 crater lakes that provide a haven for a variety of birdlife, mammals, and reptiles. Lake Paradise is a spectacular crater lake in the heart of Marsabit National Park. The lake, which lies on its peak to the foothills of rugged grandeur that fan out from its volcanic tips. The dense mountain forests are also home to elephants, famous for their huge tusks. The park is an important water tower for Marsabit town and connected landscapes. Bakuli Springs has been the only primary existing water source for Marsabit town since it was constructed in the early 1970s. Currently, the town's water comes from Bakuli Spring, whose discharge is not constant and is on the decline due to human activity in the catchment area. The capacity of water discharge from the dam changes depending with the season. During rainy season, it ranges from 9 to 11 liters per second. As of July, because of drought, the flow had reduced by over 80%. The rains in the past few years have not been adequate for the area surrounded by desert. When NTV visited Lake Paradise in February 2019, the lake was intact, but by July, the jewel of the north had dried up due to the prolonged drought coupled with the effects of climate change. The degradation of the park's lakes has been blamed on a number of issues, key amongst them the increase in the number of boreholes dug around the area that drain the lake waters. This, coupled with unabated deforestation in the park, leaves little water to sustain the levels in the lakes.
Once you allow them, they also move in with the hundreds of their livestock. You know, they get it into the forest, On the process, they even cut down the trees, you know, live trees. They go as far as Bakuli, the source for this town. And the other day, there were over 1,000 animals there. The KWS has to use force to get those animals from the forest. So these challenges are there.
If this forest is not conserved, then there will be no life in Marsabit County. Apart from Bakuli, other water sources for the communities in the downstreams also come from this forest. So it is a very important conservation area. We are fencing off some portions of this forest to mitigate cases of human-wildlife conflict, especially elephants. We've had cases of wildlife getting to people's farms, causing a lot of distractions.
Bakuli 1 was constructed in 1950s with the sole aim of storing water in extreme droughts when flows of Bakuli Spring are low. While Bakuli 2, which is located downstream of Bakuli 1 and 3, was constructed in 1995. The dam has similar dimensions to Bakuli 1. Water is opened from Bakuli 1 to 3 before it is pumped to Marsabit treatment plant. Bakuli 3 concrete dam with a capacity of about 60,000 cubic meters was constructed between 2008 and 2011. Because the population has grown and the mountain's ecosystem degraded, the supply has not been enough for the town. To address the acute water shortage in the county, construction of the 1.8 billion shillings Marsabit town water and sewerage system and the expansion of the Bakuli reservoir is on course. The mega project, which is underway, was funded by the national government and is being implemented by a Chinese firm.
We know Bakuli Dam is situated within an area protected by both KFS and KWS. So environmental concerns become key as regards both human and wildlife. We are planning to plant trees on about 10 hectares of land.
The project is expected to enhance Bakuli's main water source capacity from the current estimated 90,000 cubic meters to 360,000 cubic meters, hence increase water supply to the town and its surrounding. According to the Northern Waterworks Development Agency, the project will increase the height of Bakuli 3's dam wall from the current 10 meters to 20 meters in order to increase water storage capacity at the main source.
The pumping system which were installed there more than 20 years ago have not been refurbished. So the amount of water we pump from Bakuli, very little would reach our treatment facility here because of the pipe network also in the forest. Which has deteriorated, a lot of bursts, a lot of leakages. You know, once it rains in this forest, there's a lot of rain, and most of that water goes to waste. So we are saying, why don't you expand Bakuli, trap more water, and give it to this town?
We'll only be able to meet 30% of the current demand of the water, though it will be an improvement from about 10%.
The construction of the sewerage treatment plant is already underway at Jirme area in the outskirts of Marsabit town.
This is the first sewerage plant for this region. Here now in Jirme is designed to treat 3,300 cubic meters of wastewater per day. The one at Dakabaricha is designed to treat 2,300 cubic meters of wastewater per day. People will stop using things like septic tank, which we call on-site disposal of sewer, which means whatever amounts could have been used for constructing the septic tank can be put to other more economic benefits. Secondly, it provides a safe way of conveying wastewater and treating it so that we also avoid what we call waterborne diseases. There is a danger in wastewater and clear water mixing.
The project, which started in 2018, is expected to be complete by April 2020, and with its completion, residents hope that the perennial water scarcity will be relegated to history books. Ruzongwe, NTV.
A great story there, and timely one by Rose Wangoi, especially at this time of drought and especially up north, to just highlight what it's looking like there when it comes to the issue of water shortage and the remedies that can be put in place to save that region. And on that note, let's take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. Stay with us because When we come back, Shiro Waweru tells of her pioneering children business on women and power.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate. Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities for maximum cavity protection. And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Do you have what it takes to become the next generation of great innovators, ICT solutions providers, business gurus, corporate icons, and renowned engineers? Enroll now for our September 2019 intakes in postgraduate, degree, and diploma programs in the following schools: School of Business and Economics, School of Arts and Social Sciences, School of Information Sciences, School of Education, School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, School of Biological and Physical Sciences, School of Tourism, Hospitality and Events Management, School of Aerospace Science, School of Public Health, School of Medicine. Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
The Aerial Assurance Challenge.
Asante sana. Sasa, ni nini kingine ambacho unaweza kumfanyia msichana wetu?
Kila kitu. Hata kufua nguo na aerial mpya.
Basi, tuonyeshe.
Hey, sasa fanya hayo madoa yawe sugu zaidi. Sasa tufue kwa kutumia sabuni yako na kutumia aerial mpya. Aerial sasa inapatikana kwenye pakiti mpya. Unaniamini sasa? Aerial huondoa madoa sugu kwa mwosho mmoja tu.
Are you in a financial fix and need the cash instantly? Is your electricity and water bill also due? Worry no more, Posenti has your back. Download the app from Play Store, register, and get the cash straight through your phone. You can also pay your electricity bill directly and many more bills on Senti. Pata Senti on Senti. Terms and conditions apply.
Now you can get your Uber ride with a phone call. Call 0800 722 000 to ride. Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, out of the need to fill a gap in the market, Shiro Waweru set up Fun Kids to produce children-friendly furniture. 10 years in came the logging ban, and Shiro had to re-strategize to stay afloat in business while playing her part in conserving the environment. She shared with Gladys Kashanja how through waste she is playing a part in dignifying the lives of children for this week's Women and Power.
So this is what it then. My name is Shiro Waweru. I'm the CEO and founder of Fun Kids Limited. We're an innovative children and youth brand, first of its kind from Africa. So we design and manufacture innovative products for them from home to schools. We teach children what manufacturing is all about. We teach them to use their hands. Right now as a country, we're pushing industrialization, Big Four agenda, which is fantastic. I completely believe in it, but it's impossible to do it if you've not been taught how. So we've decided to complement our education system and as private sector and industry to offer a program. It's actually called Kids Go Tech. And so far we've probably trained over 1,000 children in how to make their own products, everyday objects. And we've also had about 600 plus youth. So we teach children about how to be environmentally conscious. So if you look at this new furniture line of ours we're sat on, it's made out of waste from industries, waste from companies like yours. What we do is we upcycle the waste and take it back to schools. We've been a bit radical. We now have plants that sit on the desks in the class. These are succulents. But how do you make children aware about the environment? How do you teach them to love and protect? It's not with a policy or a government directive. It has to be tangible, it has to be experiential, it has to be fun. My original business idea was to make amazing products out of timber, which we've been doing for a while now. And then when we encountered the ban on logging, which is good for the environment, very bad for business, we had to recalibrate, rethink, and literally change our sales. And at the moment, we're now using recycled, which is waste. There's no reason why we have schools where children sit on stones or even just sit on the ground. The education system is one, but the environment they learn in is equally as important. So we're calling it the Dignity Project. And we're saying, let's restore dignity in schools. Again, I stress, not only for children, but for the teachers. So right now, there's something we've been learning about called Education for Sustainable Development, which is being spearheaded by the Ministry of Education. And we've become partners in that, where we also go and train. And what does that look like? Schools also generate a lot of waste around them. And we then equip the teachers and say, look, with the stuff around you, this is what you can do with it. And this is what you can also do with it in a learning environment, like in a classroom. The other thing we do is we get well-wishers like yourself to say, you know what, I want to sponsor a class. Because we're saying sponsor a desk, sponsor a class. Sponsoring a desk is like the one I'm sat on, it's only 3,000 shillings. This desk can take 1 child, 2 children, 3 children, up to 4 children in some communities. My biggest advice is start a business that's solving a problem. Don't just start a business because you like something, right? Because that's where we are as a country. What if we said every county would make its own buttons for the uniform the kids in that county have to wear? Those are many buttons. What does that lead to? A lot of creation of jobs, improvement of economy. We don't have to make drones. It's nice, but where we are as a country, we don't even make toilets. We still have pit latrines in schools. We don't make taps enough. Why aren't we making the basics?
Some good sentiments there by Shiro Waithaka on that business. But away from the design industry to architecture. And the 14th edition of the Agha Khan Award for Architecture has been held in the city of Kazan in Russia. The award celebrates exemplary contributions in the field of architecture and how the award recipients have impacted their societies. His Highness the Agha Khan attended the event and celebrated with the recipients of this year's award.
40 years, His Highness the Agha Khan has hosted the Agha Khan Award for Architecture, recognizing a vast array of architectural contributions, including over 9,000 nominated projects. This round of awards is the 14th cycle held in the Kazan city of Tatarstan, with an overriding theme of celebrating cultural diversity and blending the inspirations of the past with the demands of the future, such as environmental, social, technological and economic.
We must think of diversity as a divine gift, a blessing, not a burden.
These architectural designs are a reflection of the richness of cultures and the beauty of nature with a touch of creativity. The bird's eye view giving a hint of the beauty below. The Agha Khan Award for Architecture was established by His Highness the Agha Khan in 1977 to identify and encourage building concepts that address the needs and aspirations of communities. This year, the winning projects are from Senegal, Bangladesh, United Arab Emirates, Palestine, Russia and Bahrain. They are celebrated for their unique ways of embracing and conserving the environment, even as they solved human problems. From Senegal is a university building that creatively adapts to Africa's heat and sunlight, while an amphibious building in Bangladesh won for allowing a school to operate in a swamp in all seasons. The theme of this award cycle, which culminated in a seminar today, is Architecture in Dialogue. The theme sees architecture as a robust interchange, one that can embrace a variety of diverse and even divergent perspectives.
On my visits to Kazan and in Bulgar, I have seen how committed people can honor the power both of cultural identity and cultural pluralism. It is striking to see how churches and mosques, for example, have been built and preserved right next to one another as powerful symbols of a profound intercultural dialogue.
These projects tend to reflect not just the functional objectives of the building, but also the cultural aspirations of the people it's designed to serve.
The Agha Award for Architecture is held in 3-year cycles. Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
Staying beyond the borders, and a former president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, will be accorded a state funeral after his family and the government reached an agreement. His funeral service today was attended by many African leaders, including President Uhuru Kenyatta. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was, however, booed during his speech.
African leaders, past and present, filed into the stadium in Harare to witness Robert Mugabe's final journey. Among them, President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Comrade Mugabe will be remembered as a Pan-Africanist and a great icon of African liberation who selflessly dedicated his life to the emancipation of Zimbabwe and Africa.
South African President Cyril Ramaphosa's speech was briefly interrupted by boos from the crowd as a result of the recent xenophobic attacks in Johannesburg on African foreigners, including Zimbabweans.
What has happened in South Africa goes against the principles of the unity of the African people that President Mugabe and President Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, and the great leaders of our continent stood for.
Mugabe, who died last week in Singapore at the age of 95, will be buried in the next 30 days at a newly built monument at Zimbabwe's Heroes Acre Monument.
On that note, we take another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, your favorite Saturday segments, including we tell you about goat yoga and how these animals will leave you even more relaxed. Stay with us.
Do you want to enjoy the convenience of a credit card that fully adheres to Islamic principles of financing? Then Gulf African Bank's Awal credit card, the first Islamic credit card in East Africa, is the solution you're looking for. It is a card that will ultimately complement your lifestyle. The Gulf African Bank Awal Islamic credit card offers a viable option for all people ascribing to the Islamic mode of banking, Muslims and non-Muslims alike, to access interest-free credit. Call 071-107-5000. SMS Awal to 21981 or visit your nearest branch to order yours today. Gulf African Bank, your partner through life's journey.
NTV continues to bring you great entertainment, news and sports shows. Stay tuned to NTV. For free-to-air set-top boxes and digital TVs, please ensure your aerial is pointed for optimum picture. Then, rescan your set-top box to refresh the channels. When search is complete, scroll until you find your favorite channel under the name NTV or ADN NTV. Choose channel 91 on GoTV, 271 on DSTV, 106 on StarTimes, 13 on Zuku, and we're also on Signet. NTV, turning on your world.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. It's now time for your favorite Saturday segments. Have you heard about this selfie shop in London which lets the selfie-loving Instagram generation to strike a pose? Posing is in a bath of pink balls or throwing up handfuls of multicolored confetti. Teenagers and 20-somethings snap away at the purpose-built mini studio for social media selfies. The owners say Selfie Factory gives one loads of content all in one go. They say selfies have become a part of life for younger generations who are always on their phones. Can you imagine? Have you heard about goat yoga, which is taking Europe by storm? A class in Sweden now offers residents the chance to take part in goat yoga. They practice their positions in a park as the animals wander around them and relax at their feet. Up to 20 or so people attend the classes, which take place in a paddock. The goats lay beside the yogis, climb, and apparently make them calm. Yogis say the idea sounds a bit crazy, but it makes it so much fun. First world problems, classic first world problems. By the way, have you heard that the iconic sofa used by popular TV comedy show Friends has been in Paris for the series' 25th anniversary? Hundreds of fans queued up to take a picture with the iconic orange couch from the TV show, installed by Warner Bros. In front of the Royal Palace to celebrate 25 years since the series first appeared on TV. Producers Warner Bros. Have been using the couch to cash in on the comedy series' seemingly never-ending popularity 15 years after the last episode was broadcast in May of 2004. For the lovers of that series, you know what that couch means. It's now time for History Saturday. On 9th September 2015, Queen Elizabeth II became Great Britain's longest-serving reigning monarch at 63 years and 7 months. She beat the previous record set by her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria. Her father, George VI, passed away in the early hours of 6th February 1952, but at his time of death is not known. The Queen was on holiday in Kenya, by the way, as a princess when she took over the crown. Watch the show The Crown on Netflix for more details. On 10th of September 1945, Mike the Headless Chicken was decapitated in the U.S. state of Colorado. The reason this is a big deal is because Miracle Mike survived for another 18 months after the head had been cut off before choking to death. Although the story was thought by many to be a hoax, the bird's owner took him to the University of Utah to establish the facts. It was determined that the axe had missed the jugular vein and a clot had prevented Mike from bleeding to death. Quite mysterious. On 11th of September 2001, Al-Qaeda terrorists hijacked 4 aircraft over the skies of America and flew them into the Twin Towers in New York City and the Pentagon in what became to be known as the 9/11 attack. The attacks shook the world. It remains the deadliest terrorist incident in history in which almost 3,000 people died. In response, the U.S. launched the War on Terror, hunting down Osama bin Laden, who was eventually found and killed in Pakistan in 2001, and former President Barack Hussein Obama holds a record for that. On 13th September 1989, South African Archbishop Desmond Tutu led the biggest anti-apartheid protest march in South Africa. Tutu led about 20,000 people of all races into the downtown streets of Cape Town, carrying the flag of the outlawed African National Congress and banners openly criticizing the government. The peaceful mile-long march was watched from afar by authorities, but none attempted to intervene. Such a great man. On 13th September 1997, the state funeral for Mother Teresa was held in India. People from all walks of life crowned along both sides of the 5-kilometer procession route which took the body from St. Thomas Church, where she had been lying in state, to Netaji Indoor Stadium for her funeral mass. Honored in the Roman Catholic Church as Saint Teresa of Kolkata, she was an Albanian Indian Roman Catholic nun and missionary. The Nobel Prize winner died of heart failure, aged 87. It's now time for the big numbers of the week, and our first big number this week is a sad one. It's 14. Can you guess what this number is about? This is the age at which a Class 6 pupil in Bomet County took her own life after reportedly being ridiculed by her teacher for soiling her uniform with her monthly period. The pupil took her life because of the shame that incident had caused her. Her death has brought about questions around the school's sanitary towels distribution program by the Ministry of Education. The ministry says it has launched investigations into the matter with a view of taking action on those involved. Our next big number this week is 40, still a sad one. This is the number of seconds in which one person dies from suicide globally. This is the alarming finding in a report by the World Health Organization released this week during the World Suicide Prevention Day on the 10th of September. The report, titled 40 Seconds of Action, also says that close to 800,000 people die due to suicide every year globally. And that suicide is the second leading cause of death among 15 to 29-year-olds, and 20% of global suicides are due to pesticide poisoning. Our third big number of the week is 23. Take a guess, my people. This is the number of candidates cleared by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to contest in the Kibra constituency by-election on November the 7th. They include ODM's Imran Okoth and ANC's Eliud Owalo. Jubilee candidate MacDonald Mariga's candidacy was invalidated by the IEBC after his name was found to be missing in the register. The ex-footballer has appealed that invalidation, and the IEBC Dispute Resolution Committee will issue a decision on Monday. Our final big number this week is 54. Take a guess. I'll wait. Okay, this is the number of days that Dutch tycoon Tob Cohen had been missing before his body was found discovered in an underground water tank in his Spring Valley home on Friday. The 70-year-old was reported missing on 19th, 20th July, and detectives arrested the wife, Sarah Wairimu Kamodho, who is now facing murder charges alongside other suspects. Detectives have also arrested ex-husband of a politician linked to the murder of the millionaire. Cohen's family and friends blame the wife for his death. And that is your week in numbers. Just one more thing before we take another break. They say when
it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note and karibu to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs.
Moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts.
I didn't know that I could go back to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Every day, NTV News team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation.
Police are not taking anything to chance.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null and void.
Telling the story of Kenya.
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
And beyond.
The politics in the United